Hey, Wolfus, how are you doing? Ah. I'm just getting the last of it set up. Talk shows. That's good. Done. Sweet. You're doing alright. It's good to hear. So, we're gonna be trying to do this through Google Slides. We will see how it goes. Wait, you're talking about your bird research on Twitch now? Yes, I am. Such is the long-awaited stream. Holy shit, this is cool. Oh, you guys. Oh, you guys make me happy. I thought literally no one would care. And you guys, like, all came out like, okay, cool, this all works, beautiful. Worst case scenario, I doxed myself a bit, but I think I took everything out. I'm actually curious about how bird vocalization works now. Lots of them over PGH Pittsburgh, maybe? Were birds harmed in the making of this production? No birds were harmed in the making of this production. Some of the studies that I'm citing, I can't say so much. There's a bit of bird dissection that goes on, but I didn't do any of it. PGH is Pittsburgh? Sweet. Lucky guess. So we're gonna wait a couple of more minutes for people to filter in. This was a highly anticipated stream. For some reason. Wholesome research? Yeah. I know. I actually made a whole little channel on my Discord about it. Do you know? Hey, Padfoot. Do you know if bird hearing is similar to human hearing in terms of frequency analysis? Ah, someone in my lab knows a lot more about that than I do. They can hear everything in our pitch range, but they can hear also slightly above too. It's not so much about the pitch that's interesting, the speed is really cool. So, there's a rule of thumb, no one knows if it's true, but the old rule of thumb is whatever we hear, birds hear it 3 times slower. So if you have, let's say, house finch song. Let me pull up some nice house finch song. House finch song, which is what I study. Actually, I think I can pull it up from my files, because I did back this up. So let me give you some nice Rye dialect. Oh wait, no, that's a female. I don't need that. So here, what you're about to hear. Let me pause the music. So here. I don't want to sign in. I literally just want you to play the. Oh, that was poor. Here. So this should have it. Wait, so bird chirp sounds similar to how our speech sounds to us to them? Yes. This is horrible. Bird singing. There we go. Here we go. That's just a call. Come on. Oh, wait. I'm very quiet. I should be fine. You guys hear me okay? Yeah, so that's Red House Finch song. That's a weird dialect. Oh, this is in Southern California. No wonder. Yeah, so they sound different depending on where you are in the world, because they have dialects. They have to learn their songs, so they sound a little different in different places. So if you heard how fast that House Finch song was going, that was like they hear that like like it's much slower. So okay, you guys can hear me? Sweet. Let me see who's around on The last piece of audio is overpowering you a bit, but you sound fine. Oh, the bird song? That's because it sounded quiet to me. Yeah, there isn't very much audio in this at all, so that shouldn't be a problem. Alright, so... let's see. Who's Revolver Puppo? Is that Venom? No, that's not Venom. I don't know where Venom is. I guess... well, there will be a VOD of this, for sure. I gave this talk Wednesday night. I gave a much more formal version of it. So you guys are getting the meme version. Because I didn't want to, like, make anyone feel like they couldn't understand what was going on. Because I want you guys to be able to find it interesting and understand it and that sort of thing. So yeah. Give me all that gay shit. Oh dear gods. This is the layman version, yes. Because if you want to see the other version, first of all, I dox myself in the original version, which I can't do, because that was for my research lab. The layman version, it's also the meme version, because this is the Twitch version. And I was very careful to label it very clearly so that I wouldn't dox myself. Yeah. So this is going to be the easy to understand version. There's going to be a VOD of this for sure. I'm going to highlight this. The stream is never going away. The mean version. Like, why the fuck can't birds just talk normal? For morphology reasons and for life history reasons. And we'll get into those. Fell asleep but made it. Hey, Venom! How are you, friend? Alright. So, let me... this music is not gonna do. I already know that. So... let me go back to that Persona 5 stuff. And just loop that forever. And if anyone has a problem with it, I can see if I can change it without it being too distracting. But listening to silence will just make me nervous. Sleepy but excited? Good to hear. There's two kinds of species. Species that sing when they talk and species that have landed from the goddamn moon. Music and other audio is louder than you. Can you make yourself a bit louder? Just a tiny bit. I can. Is this better? No complaints? It might be on your end somehow, because you're the only one who's having this issue, so yeah, it is better. Sweet. Alright, so let's get into it. Oh, I'm so excited. So I'm gonna be talking today about my research stuff. Okay, let me go to the first slide. So I made this special slide for this version. So how is this lecture going to work for Twitch? When I gave this lecture, it was an hour and a half. So I know that most of you guys aren't academics, so I'm going to try to make this less schooly and less, like, boring. Because I don't want you to feel like you're in class and be like, oh god, I came to Twitch, now I'm looking at PowerPoint and life is bad. I don't want that to happen. So normally I'd put all of the citations in presentations, but since most of you wouldn't really read academic articles, I'm going to take those out. You guys can always ask me for where I've cited things. I have like an organized system. I can always just give you the paper. But I doubt any of you are going to want that. Yeah, if you want to know where I found something, ask me and I can show you. PowerPoint is a meanie. Yeah, this is on Google Slides because PowerPoint was a dick to OBS, and OBS was a dick to PowerPoint, and so I was just like, I'm just gonna cheat and use Chrome. So yeah, use the chat, make memes, ask questions. The last time I did something like this, I was studying for an evolution class, and Desi made that whole coral snake meme that I hope has died by now. So yeah, feel free to ask me anything in the chat. I will stop what I'm doing and I will answer it. This is for you guys as much as it is for me. Oh, my headset is on weird. That could be why you couldn't hear me. Coral snake meme? Yeah, so I was teaching Desi the difference between a coral snake and a milk snake. It was interesting. If you ever see Desi, you can ask her about the coral snake meme. But yeah, that having been said, let me take my drink of water. Staying hydrated. Hopefully my power doesn't go out in the meantime of this, because the wind is being mean. But yeah, let's get into it. Yay! Alright. I think I lost an electron. Yes, I'm positive. God damn it. So, sexual selection. So for those of you who have never learned about evolution or, like, forgot about this stuff because it was boring way back when you learned it, change in species over time occur because certain members of the population can take their genes and put them in the next generation, and certain members of the population can't. And the ones that can't, their traits are lost to time. The ones that do have children have those traits. They're heritable. So there are a couple of types of selection, which is how you choose who lives and who dies, basically. So sexual selection is who chooses, like, how is it, how do I explain this? Sexual selection is who gets to mate and who doesn't get to mate. So if you don't get to mate, you can survive till you're old and never get eaten and never have anything bad happen to you, but you don't have any kids, so your genes don't get passed on. And so you're kind of a dead end evolutionarily. So certain genes are evolutionary hand-me-down pants, pretty much. So the genes that make you sexy to the member of the opposite sex are selected for, which means if you have those, your genes are more likely to be passed on. So species choose more optimal partners, and if no one chooses you, you go extinct. Yeah. So if you're a bird singing the wrong song, you're fucked. Unless for some weird reason a female also happens to like that song for some reason. So, in traditional Darwinian evolutionary theory, this is Darwin, by the way. He was cool. So these really elaborate traits, like you see those deer antler horns, and you see those like bright feathers on like peacocks, all of that usually occurs in males. And one of the example of those elaborate traits is birdsong, which is like these fancy, long, complex songs. That's more than just a call. And if females listen to that and they like how that sounds, they'll mate with the male. So male song is complex and extravagant because they have to be more flashy than the other males so that they can have some fuck, basically. Damn, rip jazz-loving birds in a rock and roll world. Yeah, unfortunately. Well, soap it ain't that bad. Individuals can't go extinct. That's true. Individuals cannot go extinct, only species. You'll just not have any offspring, and just... that's all. Like, so super useful people can still die virgins because they lack the sexy genes. Yes. I might be one of those people. But, yeah. Even if you are super duper smart and super duper good at, like, hiding from predators or, like, beating people up, if you're not sexy to females, your genes are not getting passed on. Hey babe, I can talk real good, let's bang. Pretty much. Venom. Just ask any healthy, strong robin around you that ain't red enough. Yeah. Or cardinal. Or house finch. If they don't got those carotenoids, man, they just ain't gonna get it. I can't listen to birds, they talk too fast. What is it about superior singing that appeals to female birds? Does singing serve a purpose outside of attracting a mate? Aha! I will be talking a lot about that, Padfoot. So, superior singing is thought to communicate to a female the quality of that male. So if you're good at singing, you're probably good at other things too. Like, it means that your brain works correctly. Also, singing will help defend territories in a lot of cases. So males kind of use songs as weapons. Like, they'll sing as they fight, they'll sing to, like, defend their territory. They'll use song for that. And so they'll also use song to attract the attention of a female and saying, like, hey, I'm cool, I'm the best thing ever, look at me, please go on a date with me and I'll help take care of your kids. Because a lot of them have biparental care. So that's what song is for in males. Songs as weapons, are they fucking bards? Yes, they are, Wolf Kronos. Birds are using all of the vicious mockery. Alright. So that's all well and good, but that doesn't make a ton of sense if you end up finding that females also sing, and guess what they found? So wait, so singing is like a marker of health. Is that why it works as a way of scaring off other males, or did that just happen? So it's probably a mark of health or just a mark of having good genes. If you have, like, Mycoplasma conjunctivitis, you're probably not singing that well or finding food well either. As for songs scaring off males, it's kind of like how lions will roar at the edge of their territories just to try to be like, hey, this is mine. So it's important you have good song for multiple reasons. If that answers your question, Lavrov. I hope it does. Yeah, so this is all well and good, but females sing too. And so that doesn't work with the traditional way they viewed things, because the way they thought it worked was the males go and they sing and they're like, hey, sexy, come over here, I'm awesome, let's have children. And females would listen to the songs and they would choose the males who sang the best, and they would mate with them. And so they thought that they were only listening. So then why did they find some females that were singing? That didn't make sense with this dude's way of thinking about life. That answers my question. I guess dogs got the short end of the stick when it came to how they mark territory. I mean, actually, not so much. Barking is also like a territorial behavior. Wolf packs, the reason they howl together, one of the many reasons they howl together, is to say, hey, this is our territory, look how many of us there are. And so they kind of do the same thing, but there are multiple ways. Mammals are really cool in that we have multiple ways of saying, here's our territory. We have scent markers, we have sounds we can make, we have visual displays. So dogs will also scent the borders of their territory in order to be like, this is mine. They do it because it smells uniquely and all dogs are very good at smelling. Well, yeah, it's also a way of, like, signing your name. And apparently for some species, every song is different too. Because they're all learning them individually and making their own mistakes. So they can easily say, this is mine now by taking a piss. Pretty much. In broad strokes, that's about right, Soap. Alright. So this framework doesn't explain why females would sing. Because according to the way people used to think about stuff, males defended the territory, males did all of this, males did all of that. There really was no reason for anything females would need song for. It just wasn't thought about at all. Oh, so when dogs do it, it's like a unique scent marker, but when I get a taxi called to take me away from the bar. Yeah, because we don't do that anymore. That's not a selected for trait, Lavrov. And also, we've lost our good sense of smell and put a lot of that toward our vision, because dogs have kind of shit vision. Alright, so yeah, female birds sing. I didn't know this when I started my research. Why wouldn't they assume females would sing to show off health too? Because they thought that singing was used to attract females. And they were focusing a lot on temperate species, which are birds not in the tropics. Like, the temperate zone is where you get all 4 seasons usually. And in those areas, it just happens to be that females are a lot more discreet about their singing. Or a lot of taxa just don't sing at all. In the tropics, females sing all the time. But they assumed females wouldn't sing because they weren't the ones who were holding territory, or so they thought. And they also just, I don't know, this was like the 1900s. They were like, females shut up and listen, and the males do all of the work. You know? It was the era of that shit. So they weren't really paying much attention to females. And those who were paying attention to females were looking at how females chose males, not really what they were doing on their own. Does that make sense, Venom? Okay. So, yeah. Female birds don't sing in all species. They sing in some. They probably sing in more species than we know about now because they've been ignored historically, totally. So males carried all the gene stuff down to them. Gotcha, thank you. Yeah, listen. It's stupid. I can't defend them. It's pretty dumb the way it works. But yeah, they just assumed that females didn't sing. Or if they did sing, I guess they didn't care. But even despite this, it looks like in the ancestral songbird, which is the songbird that, like, all of the other songbirds are descended from, the females in that species probably sang. Well, the scientific process that it finds... Well, you see, the reason science works is that science fixes itself eventually. Because people are always questioning things and testing things. And you're not supposed to get married to one hypothesis. You're supposed to consider everything and look at every possibility for something. And when you realize that something doesn't quite fit your framework, you go, oh shit, something doesn't fit my framework. And then you figure out, well, why the fuck is that happening? And that's why science eventually fixes itself, and I have hope that it will continue to do that. But when you look at, like, older science, you can sometimes be like, oh, come on, dudes. Because science doesn't come from the ether. Science comes from scientists. And scientists have a way of looking at the world that sometimes they can't escape. And it's not their fault, it's just human nature. Science is done by humans, for the most part. And so when you have scientists who are just not thinking about the female side of things at all, you know, you can't really blame them for not noticing female song, even though now we're just like, oh, that's so not progressive. And I'll rag on them, sure, but, like, I recognize that, like, it just wasn't thought about back then. Exactly, yeah, you can't ever think that you're the right one to point where you can never accept opposing points. Yeah, that's what science is about. Sorry, I was just making a joke at an old science dudes. Something doesn't fit my framework. Tell that to the late 19th, early 20th century mathematicians. Yeah. Hey, I didn't say all scientists are good scientists. So, moving on from this. So, why are female songs? Why do females sing at all? Which is what I'm most interested in. Like, why do they bother? Because, like, we're so used to learning in, like, high school. Like, okay, these are why males sing. That's cool. They sing to attract mates and defend their territory. Sweet. I got that. But why do females sing? And so I read a ridiculous amount of I think I read close to 95 like papers and studies on this sort of stuff, and I came up with 5 categories of reasons that females sing. The first one is inter-pair communication, which is boyfriend and girlfriend talking to each other and making sure they can coordinate what they're doing. Territory defense, which is home guarding basically. Mate guarding, which is making sure someone doesn't steal your bae. Mate attraction, which is, hey honey, come over here, let's go have children. And sex recognition is, are you male or female? Oh, you sing like this? You're probably female. So they have songs that will mark themselves as female. And I'm gonna go in this order. So you guys can like pull me over and be like, wait, what is going on? But this is the order I'm gonna be talking about this. Like, hey, my parents aren't home kind of stuff. Yeah, that's what that is in male song. In female song, it's been harder to find. Beat me to it. Aw, Padfoot. That's the 4th one. Aw, down. Yeah, so inter-pair communication. So the trick is when you're studying this stuff is you need to know how you know that that's the function of the song. So if you're a bird, like the Rufous and White Wren, which is this bird here, it's cute. If she's singing and she's just singing, how do you know who she's singing to and why she's singing? So if she's singing very quietly and her song doesn't travel through the vegetation very far, and if she usually sings only when she's really close to the male and she doesn't sing that often, she's probably talking to her mate. Was it selected for its cuteness? Probably not. Probably not selected for its cuteness, no. But I would have selected it for its cuteness. It's so cute. Look at it. It's little Rufous and White Wren. Look at its little eyes and its little beak. I think these guys are in Australia? Maybe. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's a Rufous and White Wren. So they did a bunch of studies on this bird, and they found out a lot about this concept called sound degradation, which is when sound doesn't travel that far, like, or how quickly does sound get warped and fade out. So her songs fade out a lot faster than male songs, so that they don't carry very far. And so it's kind of like she's whispering to her mate, like, hey, can you go get that food? Okay, thanks. That's what that's basically doing. Instead of being like, yo, that's probably for something else, because that would carry a lot further. The males in this species have like songs that carry much further, and they're probably for territory defense or attracting mates. And you pick up more milk type stuff. Exactly. You get it, Wolfies. That's the deal with these guys. So the females are thought to do this sort of thing. So this causes an interesting problem. Hey, I'm starving here. Go get me that worm. Yes, exactly. And we're gonna get to more of that in just a second, Venom. So inter-pair communication. So there's a problem with this, though. If you're singing close to your nest, predators and brood parasites are gonna hear you, and they're gonna eat your babies. And that's no good if you want your babies to live. So what brood parasites are is they lay their eggs in another bird's nest, and they're like, these other birds can take care of my baby because fuck it, I don't want to. So they like drop off their kid in this other bird's nest, and that bird will hatch first and like kick out all of the real children and get the parents to feed him instead of their actual children, who are probably at the bottom of the tree dead. So they don't want this to happen. Yeah, like the cuckoo bird. that's a brood parasite. So there has to be a good reason why females are singing at the nest. Because if there is no good reason, then all she's doing is attracting these predators and parasites. So in song sparrows, they found that the female will have like a little nest departure call, which isn't really a song, but I included it anyway because it was relevant. And so whenever she makes that song, her mate will start singing around the nest more and like fighting away predators and being just generally more watchful so that she can go and like get food. Blue tit females, this is a blue tit, by the way. It's not what you think it is. It's this cute bird. Look at the bird and forget what the name is. They do this as well, but they'll sing for some predators and not others. Blue tit, giggity, goddamn it. Wolfers. Yeah, so it depends on the predator, and that is what determines whether or not they sing. If it's a predator that's dangerous to adults, they will sing more to be like, yo, we see you, go away. And then if predators are no big deal, they'll just take care of it. Huh, that doesn't look like like a shot from the Avatar porn parody. Oh dear gods. Oh no. Oh gods. It's okay, listen. Listen. I am going to show you what a blue tit is, and it's not what you think it is. It's this. It's cute. It looks like this. And this. And this. They're adorable. And they don't think dirty things. Oh god, if there are any actual boob pictures, I'm going to feel so badly. And this is a blue tit. Yes, they are cute titties, indeed. Sorry, I know what a blue tit is. I just thought of Avatar when you mentioned the name. No problem, Lavrov. What's wrong with boob pictures? Blue-footed boobs are marvelous birds. Yes, they are. But I'm scared to Google that in this window because I'm scared of what might get me banned. Yeah, so the females will poops on stream, Lupine, you're banned. It's a blue tit. It's perfectly innocent. Look at it. It's so cute. It's cute. Yeah, so anyway, the songs that these birds sing at the nest might depend on the context in which they're singing. Yeah, so it depends on like what type of predator. Now, and honey, can you get some milk? So northern cardinals, which I'm assuming most of you live in an area where you know what northern cardinals are. But in case you don't, they are these birds. They're like red. This is a male. Female is that one. She's like more gray. If it has tit in it, it's not perfectly innocent. It's mostly innocent. Fair enough, Wolfers. Ha, my high school bio teacher made the mistake of looking up fucus pictures on Google Images. Oh no. That's a type of kelp, isn't it? That's like a plant. That's unfortunate though. Yeah, so these are cardinals. These are northern cardinals. So it's algae, if I recall correctly. It might be algae. Yeah, I think it's algae. I think it's brown algae. Oh, it's been a while. I've also refrained from looking it up since then. Yeah, you gotta be careful. So in northern cardinals, the female will sing a certain song that will be like, hey, honey, can you bring me food like right now? And then she'll sing a different song for like, hey honey, can you not go near the nest because you're bright red and I don't want you attracting predators? Okay, thanks. And so she'll let her mate know using those songs what to do. Does he listen all the time? No, he actually doesn't. Sometimes he'll be like, you need food and I'm going to feed you, damn it. Or he'll be like, I don't have food right now. Okay, what's wrong with Ficus? I just see sea plants? Yeah, that's what you're supposed to see, Wolfus. Don't worry about what else it could be. And then in another type of bird, the black-headed grosbeak, which is here. This is the mommy and this is the daddy. They sing to... So these birds are really cool because dad does everything mom does and mom does everything dad does, pretty much. So they both take turns sitting on the nest and like warming up the eggs and the chicks. They both take turns like feeding the chicks, and they both use songs to keep an eye on the chicks as they're learning to fly. So this is the only paper I was able to find where they showed females using song to talk to their kids and be like, hey, don't go so far away from our territory, please, and let me feed you so that you don't starve to death because you're stupid and still learning. So grosbeaks are kind of cool. They're like how good parents should work. Because the more biparental care you have, which means the more mom and dad are taking care of the kids, the better you need to be at communicating. You need to be able to be like, hey, I need to go for a walk. Can you take care of little Jimmy for a while? And these birds are really good at doing that. I think that's all for interparent communication. Oh, nope, never mind. So this one's really cool. This is like a verbal name tag. So you want to make sure that you know who your mate is so that you don't accidentally attack them when you're defending your territory. Because if you accidentally attack your mate, then you're not doing well evolutionarily. Like, you're taking away your ability to take care of your chicks. You're taking away your abilities sometimes to defend your territory. So you need to be able to tell who your mate is. Do songs work for partner identification in species like this? Yes. Thank you for the question, Padfoot. So yeah, it's called Logue's identity hypothesis, except not really. The dude who found this was way too humble to name it after himself, but I'm calling it that anyway. So black-bellied wrens, which is this cute little guy, females will answer their males with a self-identifying song, which is just like, hi, it's like, Brenda, your mate, please don't attack me, dumbass. And the male will be like, oh, it's Brenda. Brenda's bae. Don't attack Brenda. Cool. Females are actually better at learning these than males in this species, which I find interesting because usually it's the other way around. But yeah, they have like little verbal name tags. It's pretty neat. So does anyone have any more questions so far? Like, is anyone lost or still wondering about anything? Because I can answer now. That's really cool. They have thumbprint songs unique to them. I never knew that. It's not in all species, but in this particular species, the black-bellied wren, they do. And in a couple of other species too, they have self-identifying songs, but I don't know them off the top of my head. I was asking because in species like emperor penguins that live in massive colonies, it seems obvious. Yes, emperor penguins have that too. They have individually distinct calls, but not every species has those. The females are usually better at learning communications in mammals. Not usually. It really depends on the species in birds. Birds are very, very diverse in that. In mammals, vocalization isn't that important in comparison to in birds. So I can't think of why females would be better at learning communication vocally in mammals, but I bet I bet that's the case. It wouldn't surprise me. I've just never heard of that before. But yeah. So the next thing is territory defense. So, back in the good old days, the scientists thought that territory defense was just a guy thing. That only males did it, that's the boys' job. They defend the territories, they get the mates. But it turns out that females can also be really territorial too, to which I respond, no shit. They often defend their resources in a lot of the ways that males do too. So they're not that different in that behavior. And sometimes, if they're in a pair, they'll work together to defend territory. But this gets complicated, and I'm going to be talking about that a lot. Not just guy things, exactly. So females can also be territorial, and they're not bad at it either. Not bad at it at all. So, territory defense. This is what I was talking about as song being used as a weapon. This is, I forget what type of song, but it's some type of bird song. It's not a house finch, I don't think. But yeah, that's that picture. So because you're not like whispering to your mate when you're defending your territory, your song needs to be loud. And so you can usually tell if a song is being used for territory defense if it is sung all year round and not just during the mating season or the breeding cycle, which is basically that one time of the year where males are like, hey, want to have children? And females are like, hey, I'm actually in the mood to have children. And then they have children. So if that happens, if these songs happen outside of that time, it's probably territory defense. If they are singing it whether or not they have a mate, just as much, it's probably territory defense. If it's used against males and not just females, probably territory defense. And if you're singing while you're fighting, it's probably territory defense. But like outside of that, it's a little bit, it can get complicated. Can some birds emulate other type of birds, like a predator to scare off other birds, or is mimicking songs not common? A few birds use mimicking, but not usually to scare off predators. They usually use the mimics to, like for mockingbirds. Like, here, I'll show you guys a mockingbird. Mockingbird. They look like this. They're all over my campus. Where's a good picture? Here. This is a mockingbird. Very pretty birds. Jesus Christ, Wind. Mockingbirds are assholes. They can be. So it is a form of agonistic behavior, Lavrov. It's basically to avoid a physical fight. Just being like, hey, this is mine. Yeah, but this is a mockingbird. Let me see if I can find a video of a mockingbird doing mimics. So mockingbird mimicking. Yeah. So let's see. Here we go. So let me pause this. Yeah. So here, let's listen to this. So this bird is just going through a lot of different calls. I think this one mimics a car alarm at some point too. It's actually a bit of a problem where I live because they'll start singing and someone will think that their car alarm is going off. This is a really quiet video. Hold on, let me see if I could do better. So all of that is coming from one bird. It's mimicking other birds. It's mimicking other birds' calls. It's mimicking alarms. Right now it's doing like a seagull. Now it's doing some sort of alarm. So it's using those, it's stringing those all together to be a more impressive mate. It's just like, hey, honey, look at how many things I can remember and replicate. I'm cool. So they do that. Yeah, it's that one species with the book about racism with them in the name. I don't know why they're in there. So they do that to impress mates. They don't do that to be like mimicking a predator so a predator will go away. Because that can backfire and the predator would be like, oh, is there like a mate or is someone encroaching on my territory? And then that just attracts attention to you and you don't want to do that. So that's what mockingbirds use that for. And that's, I think that's mostly males trying to attract females in that case. It's okay, mockingbirds. I like voice actors too. Yeah, they're basically the voice actors of the the bird group. They're really cool. I like watching them personally, and they can go on forever, just like song after song after song after song, mimic after mimic after mimic after mimic. But yeah, no, there are no songs that like act like a predator to scare off other birds. Not that I know of, anyway. So yeah, if she sings for these reasons, it's most likely for territorial defense. Oh, and then there's this. This is a weird thing that bothered me. Can mockingbirds replicate fingerprint songs? Yeah, but they're not going to know that they're fingerprint songs. I don't think they have their own fingerprint songs, but I don't know. There's someone in my lab who's studying mockingbirds, but they're like never around, so I never get to ask very much about it. So I don't know if they have like their own signatures. It wouldn't surprise me if they did. It wouldn't surprise me if they didn't either, though. They're just weird. But yeah. So there's this thing called sex role reversal, which is when, so let's say, hold on. So let me pull up a phylogenetic tree, just because this is easier to describe if I have that. Phylogenetic tree. So, yeah, no, I don't want that. Let me do this. Yeah, okay. This is, let's pretend these aren't fish. So if you're this guy, if you're in this clade, and males do the singing here and the guarding territory here, males do the singing here and territory here guarding, males do the singing here and territory guarding here, and females do that here and the males just sit on the eggs and shut up, this is considered a sex role reversed species. Does that make sense? I don't know if you can see all that well. Let me... Oh, can you not? Yeah. Does that make sense? So, like, here we go. This is better. So, let's open image in new tab. So, if you're here and you're a female doing what the males do in literally this species, this species, this species, and this species, and you're like the odd one out, you're considered a sex role reversed species. Does that make sense? It took me a while to understand, especially when people were using fancy language to explain it to me when I'm trying to use simple language to explain it to you guys. So, you think so? Yeah, it's weird. It's like, they're like, so the females in sex role reversed species are kind of like tomboys. They do the things the dudes do. Like, they guard the territories, they attract the mates, they're like, hey, honey, come here. Like, they're the ones who are doing all the things that we normally think of as males doing. So they're weird. They're just weird. So this is the case in the African cuckoo, which is this bird here. This is a female, and the females sing a lot, and the males don't sing at all. Almost not at all. And the males choose the females based on something that I don't know. And the males will sit on the females' eggs and take care of them. They're not very colorful, they blend in, and they just act like everyone thinks of females acting, pretty much. And the females have these robust songs that carry over wide distances, saying like, yo, this is my territory. And so that's what we found, well, these people found in this African cuckoo, which is one of those very rare sex role reverse species. There aren't a lot of them. And they communicate how tough they are in using song elements to like reflect how big they are through their songs. And they can modify elements in those songs when they think their territory is being intruded, so they can become more aggressive. In sex role reversals, were the males mistaken for females? No, it's just the way it is. Like, it's weird. It's this weird thing that no one really knows about. You would think in the literature the males were mistaken for females, but I guess they observed that even though the females were acting like males, the females were laying the eggs. And so long as you're laying eggs, you're female. Like, you're biologically female, even if you're not acting like you'd think a female acts. They're weird, wolfas. They're strange, and I'm still trying to figure them out myself. They're weird. They're very, very strange animals. But yeah, this is kind of cute. They're like in the African plains. It wouldn't surprise me if the males were mistaken for females initially, but I think someone had to like follow them around enough and figure out, oh, that male is laying eggs. That's not a male. Awkward. Yeah, I bet that's how it went. Okay, next thing. So, this is like a no-duh thing. Oh wait, speaking of sex reversal, there's one species of fish where the males gather a small harem each time they want to mate. There are a lot of fish like that. And there are fish that will start off as female and then grow into being male. And then there are some that start off as male and grow into being female, like the biggest one turns female. That fish are weird, man. That shit happens a lot. But yeah, the fish you'll find, if you want weird shit, just find a fish, pretty much. You'll find all the weird shit you want. But, so back to birds. In clownfish that happens, yeah. In clownfish and in a lot of teleosts, I believe that's a thing. Wait, so if fish can switch genders biologically, are transgenders trying to be fish? Oof. That's a hard question, because we don't really know. So gender is different than sex. Gender is more of like a societal self-identity thing, whereas sex is like, what does your bodies do? What gametes do you produce? And what's your deal, basically? And even sex biologically is not always very cut and dry. Like, you have some people who are a little bit ambiguous with it, where they have XY, but some of the Y genes aren't being expressed, so they come out developing a bit more like females. Like, it's tricky. So I wouldn't say transgenders are trying to be like fish. I would say that they're trying to occupy a different role in society than their biological sex would have people assume they occupy, if that makes sense. It's a very weird topic. I don't know too much about it. And I hope I gave a somewhat satisfying answer. But, like, we don't see fish as transgender, and I don't think transgenders are trying to be like fish. At least not actively. Maybe some. I don't know. I just simply don't know. It's a fishy topic. But yeah, regardless of mating system or their position in sex role reversal, if you care more about your territory, you tend to defend it more passionately. We're not, but fish are cool. Yeah, I don't think... Yeah, so nature's kind of just awesome like that. Fishy topic, goddamn. Sorry. Like, for instance, I identify as non-binary. My preferred pronoun is actually they. I don't make a big deal out of it. I sort of just, I don't know. I don't care that much. Some people care a lot more. But I just feel like in society and, like, in the way I choose to live my life, I tend not to be very feminine. I'm also not that masculine. And I'm stuck with this high-pitched voice. So it's often just convenient for me to be like, yeah, okay, I'm fine with being she. But if someone uses they as my pronoun, it makes my day. But that's not, like, I'm not trying to be like a fish. Like, it's just how I feel more comfortable. It's a self-identity issue, less than it is a biological issue. It's really weird, and you need to go into the social sciences to understand it more, which I am not in at all. I have not really looked into the social sciences that much at all. I hope that kind of answers your question, Wolfus. Yeah, I'm not an expert in this. But yeah. Wait, have I think I've satisfied all the questions so far. I'm non-very masculine leaning, so fish buddies are apparently yeah, I guess we are fish buddies. Can we get some fish in chat? How do I make a fish in chat? Here's the fish in chat. But yeah, back to territory. But thank you, Wolfus, for the really interesting question. Oh gods. Pandy, thank you so much for 5 months of continued support. Welcome back to the hunting party. What a time to subscribe. I will eat your fish. Birds. Yes, birds. Let's focus on the birds. So in white-crowned sparrows, migratory species that have less time to breed in their territory sing louder and more intensely than females who, like, are in the same territory all year and aren't not in as much of a rush. Very good fish, old Padfoot. Aw, it's a waving fish. And stripe-headed sparrows, they literally said they just put more effort into their songs. Also, in areas where the population is really crowded, where there are, like, lots of females in one place and lots of males in one place and there isn't a lot of food, even if females don't usually sing in that species, if it's crowded, they'll sing. To try to protect their territory and protect their resources so that they can survive and defend it. Mate guarding, which is something we all are familiar with, whether or not we choose to think of it as mate guarding is totally up to you guys, but I think about mate guarding all the time. So, traditionally, I need a glass of water. Hold on. But yes, take in the beautiful overused meme. Yes. So, traditionally, males are thought to fight over females, and then they have to secure those females. And you have to make sure your female stays by your side and has your kids and doesn't cheat on you. Because if she cheats on you, then she might not be carrying your genes to the next generation. She might be carrying some other dude's genes. And as a male, you're not really about that. So you want to prevent that shit from happening. But if you're a female, you also don't want your man doing this shit. Because, no, you don't. Because you need your male to defend your territory, take care of your chicks, and not, like, be paying child support to some, like, red thought. You need your male's attention. And you don't want him going off and having flings with other females. You're not down with that. You're not some second-rate female. You deserve his complete attention, and you're gonna sing for it, and you're gonna fight for it. Only if you already have a mate. If you don't already have a mate, this doesn't apply to you. So females will sing to keep and monopolize a male's help in guarding her territory and feeding her chicks. You were gonna ask about this earlier, Padfoot? I got you. I've only been studying this for like a year. I've thought of lots of stuff. So there are two ways she can go about this. She can be very overt about it, and this will saw you hanging. You with that house run yesterday, Rebecca. It's not what you think, right? Exactly. So in order to prevent that stuff from happening, Venom, let's see. So sometimes when females are singing to defend their mates, it looks like territory defense behavior, but there are a few giveaways. She won't respond if a male comes in, 'cause, like, you know, another male might not be so bad. But if it's another female, oh no. No. This will not do. You're not after my man. This is not how this shit's gonna work. And so they'll sing even more when they hear another female singing, 'cause it's just like, hey, this ain't yours. And they will sing during physical aggression, but only when they're fighting other females. And usually, her mate won't be helping her. Her mate will be like, oh, maybe I was hoping to, you know, have a little something with that other female. But I guess not. So she's usually fighting this other chick alone, if it's for purely mate guarding purposes. I can only think of birds communicating like Ron and Becky in the cult classic Let Me Smash. Yeah, I've fallen into that too. And I don't know why I tend to give Brooklyn accents to birds when I talk about mate guarding, but I do. So there's also another sneakier way you can do this, and humans do this too. Hence the wedding bands. We do it in much more discreet ways. So another way to make sure that no one steals your man, are there any females in chat? Here I am giving like all of the relationship advice to all the females. But like females, if you don't want your man to leave, you want to signal your commitment to the pair bond, which is your relationship. You want to be a committed female, and you want to do behaviors that are called pair bond maintenance. And so you want to show your male that you are attentive, that you care, that you're quick, that you're nearby all the time, and he is the only one for you, so that you don't get cheated on, because he has to respond too, and he has to be like, you are my only girl, I love you, we are in this together. And that keeps both of you from cheating. Hey, Mel, you are watching. Sweet. You guys don't need the relationship advice? Yeah, but you guys get so much more of it. Like, and your relationship advice has been documented for decades, so I don't feel like I need to give it to you as much. Yeah. So, my professor actually had a problem with this, because it's just like, but what if you're just doing it for, like, bonding purposes? Like, what if it's just to, like, be closer with your mate? Well, you don't really have to maintain the pair bond if it's not in danger of breaking. So, how do I describe this? So, if you are doing things to maintain the pair bond, you wouldn't have to do that if the pair bond wasn't in any trouble. Like, the reason that you give your sweetheart flowers on the Valentine's Day, you're maintaining the pair bond. You're showing her, hey, I love you. Because you need to do that in order to keep you guys together so that she doesn't go off with someone else. So males, take notes. You need to show that you're committed to the pair bond. Because you're not doing that just because it's fun. You're doing it because it works evolutionarily. You are mate guarding. You are making sure that she feels loved. And females, you do the same thing. You show your man is loved, so he doesn't go off with some other thought. And that is why you have very tightly coordinated duets. So, let me show you. I'm going to be talking about this bird a little later too, but let's take a look at something called the Eastern Whipbird. So, Eastern Whipbird. So, videos. So, you have, okay, male and female. So let's see this. So they look like, here, let me show you what they look like too. Eastern Whipbird, male and female. So, this is what they look like. This is a male over here. And this is presumably a female. They're in Australia. And they sound like this. This is a bad recording, actually. So that's the male. And then what you should be hearing after the male is the female will go like this very light, quiet, like la da da da. Very like, I don't know, way different. Let's see this video. Maybe this video is better. Oh yeah, no. These are all single birds. So let me type in Eastern Whipbird female. Let's see. Eastern Whipbird call. Eastern Whipbird duet maybe is what I need to be looking up. Video clip, family group. What the heck? Call of the Eastern Whipbird. Maybe this. Oh gods. Oh my, what was that? Oh god. Trolley, thank you so much for the raid. If this raid is offensive, moderate in chat settings. I thought you said raid. Oh gods. Aw, science stream raid. Thank you so much, Trolley. But yeah, point is, those females are always right on top of that male's call. And she is like, I am here. I am paying attention. I am not running off with some other dude. I am with you and only you. Yeah, hey Trolley, what's up? Do any of the birds you study for this mate for life or relationships more like mate where you're gonna move on to the next mate? Some of these birds do return to the same mate over and over and over again, especially in tropical species. House finches don't always do this, but when they do, they tend to be more successful when they stick with their same mate. Just because they're like, okay, I found you, I know how we work, we know how we do things, and I know you're good. So let's just skip the whole dating thing and go back to having kids. Lord Tenderkill! Or Tender Steak 3. Hello, how are you? I didn't realize you were here. I haven't seen you in a dog's age. How are you? Oh my god. All of these people. I had more but people left. That's fine. This is an educational stream. I totally get it. Also, what a raid. Also long. Yeah. Oh my god. I haven't seen you since like the early Ragnarok days. What's up, man? So yeah. You guys just missed the relationship advice segment of the stream. But yeah. If you don't want your mate to cheat on you, you gotta show her that you love her. And if you don't want your dude to cheat on you, you have to show him that you love him. And basically, that's it. Pretty good, I can walk again? Oh my god, what happened? You good, Lord Tenderkill? I don't know why I call you Lord Tenderkill after all this time. My brain just won't unlearn it. But yeah, you guys can join the Discord too. There's a Discord now. You're very good. It's so good to see you again. Oh my god. It's so nice to see you guys. So yeah, next thing. Wow, I got distracted. Whew. Okay, next thingy. So, there's this bird that's kind of like humans. It's called a dunnock. This is what it looks like. It's kind of cute. They're crazy. So, they can choose to be monogamous, which means they only have one girlfriend if they're a guy, and only one boyfriend if they're a girl. They can be polygynous. You can be a guy with multiple girls. You can be polyandrous, which is a girl with multiple guys. Or you can be polygynandrous, which is basically just poly. Just, you can have multiple girls, you can have multiple guys. It doesn't matter. So, in a polygynous arrangement, I'm still stuck in my friggin' Brooklyn accent. So in a polygynous arrangement, you have one male who's defending 2 or 3 females' territories and helps at all of their nests. I had a condition with my knee and I was on crutches for a year. And also, did I hear Discord? You did, Lord Tenderkill. Oh god, and I hope you're feeling a lot better. Oof. I didn't realize. I wish you continued luck and speed in your recovery, friend. Yeah. So if you're a male with 2 to 3 women, you're a happy guy. You're like, alright, sweet. I've got all these females, I'm gonna have lots of kids, everything is great. If you're one of those females, you are decidedly not happy. Because now, you have to compete for attention from that one male. And you have to be like, hey, help my kids defend my territory. This is a dunnock, Trolley. It's a... Let me see if I can find better pictures. Dunnock. I think they're found in Australia. A lot of these birds are found in Australia. They're just fucking crazy birds. So like this. This is a dunnock. That's a dunnock. Oh no, you're fully recovered? Fucking A. Good job, Tenderkill. This is a dunnock. This is a dunnock who looks like he's in trouble. Yeah, so these are dunnocks. I think they're in New Zealand. Yeah. That doesn't surprise me. They're weird. Yeah, but good job on totally recovering, Tenderkill. So, polygynous females, the ones who have to compete for their male's attention to guard their nests and help their chicks, they tended to be more aggressive than monogamous females who don't have to worry. Because if you're a monogamous female, you only have one boyfriend, and your boyfriend only has you, you're not worried. Your man is always going to be there. Always taking care of your territory, feeding your chicks. You're fine. You're set. You're good. You're good. So they were more aggressive if they were polygynous, where they had to compete against other females, rather than monogamous. And if you were polygynous or polygynandrous, where you're still kind of competing for male attention, you tended to sing more. And so that singing, it's not mate guarding because you already kind of have your mate, but it's guarding his attention. It's weird, but it still works. Does that make sense? But yeah, these birds are kind of like people, because people can be like this too. In fact, it drives one of my lab mates crazy. He's just like, why can't they just have one mating system? I'm like, I don't know, why can't we only have one mating system? Yeah, that's what a mating system is, if you're monogamous, polygynous, or polyandrous. Boop. So, you can have territory and mating defense at the same time. That is something you can do. If you are both defending territory, but you're not coordinating very much with your mate, you're still territory defending, but you're probably also still mate guarding because you're more interested in the same sex than the opposite sex. Did you make this PowerPoint? Yes, I did. It took me 2 weeks and a half. And it's got like a couple more slides. It's got like 28 slides. I'm like more than halfway done. But yeah, I made this whole PowerPoint, truly. So if they are coordinating with their mate, but they're more interested in defending it against other females than the opposite sex, then it is both territorial and mating defense. And they don't have to be at the same time. Female song could be for territory defense during most of the year, and then mate defense when it's time to make babies. So they can do that as well. It doesn't only have to be one. So this is everything I know about female song used for mate attraction. There isn't a lot we know. So males are very famous for doing this and being like, hey, I'm single, you love me, you want me, I'm red, I'm beautiful, and I can sing complicated songs, come get me. Females are not very well known for this, and even in sex role-reverse species, I'm not finding a ton on it. I'm still looking a lot for stuff like this, but when you're seeing mate attraction as a function for female song, it's in single females who become paired afterward, especially if population density is high, even if that species doesn't tend to sing very much. They'll sing if there's a very high, if it's very crowded. Did you study chiefly passerines in this, Wolfie? If so, can any of this be applied to birds outside the order? That is a question that is much more advanced than I thought I was getting today, Fatfoot. Yeah. I chose mostly passerines. Some of this can be applied to, like, corvids and other birds, but not a ton, because if you're not a songbird, you don't do a lot of singing. And so there isn't as much sexual dimorphism between, like, a male and female crow. Like, they still caw, and they do the same caw, and it's not really very controversial. That, like, everyone knows they're communicating. But concepts like mate guarding and territory defense and mate attraction, all of those concepts are still applicable, but they're not as controversial because they're not done with song. Does that make sense, Fatfoot? And yeah, this lecture, when I gave it on Wednesday, was an hour and a half. So the fact that an hour and 19 minutes have already gone by does not surprise me at all. Yeah, so let me know if that answers your questions. But mate guarding can even apply to humans too. There have been papers about mate guarding in people. And mate guarding in several other species as well. These are universal concepts that are illustrated quite neatly in birds, but by no means are limited to them at all. So if population density is high, sometimes females will be like, hey, I'm over here, and sing it for that. Also, if you're singing and no male is responding to you, that's pretty much a hey, I'm single sign, particularly in bay wrens. This is a prothonotary warbler, by the way. Tell me how Wednesday went after this. Want to hear all about it? I will as soon as the stream ends. And in alpine accenters, if you're singing only during the fertile period, which is like when you're ready to have chicks, and you get males to be attentive to you, but not so much females, then it's probably for mate attraction. Or, and this is cool, this isn't quite attraction. Females who are in lek mating systems, so what a lek is a bunch of males go in one place, or like make little places inside a bigger place, and they all try to advertise to females. And the females come and they like check out each male's lek. It's like a conference almost. So if a female sings, males will pay attention to the song, and then they'll start fighting each other. And the females will watch. And whoever wins doesn't get the female right away. But what the females are doing is they're assessing how good the males are at fighting, and they choose the best fighter. So a song can be used that way too. It's weird. It's really cool. And then, sex recognition. So, you don't want to be mistaken for a female if you're a male. Because if a neighboring male thinks you're female, you're gonna lose your territory. If a female thinks you're female, you might not, like, get to ask her out. And it's just not good. It's just bad. And if you're a female, you might end up with the same kind of problem, where it's just not good to be mistaken for something you're not. So, there are some song elements, like little things in songs to be like, hey, I'm male, or hey, I'm female. It could be that a note can be very low if you're a male, or a note can be very high if you're a female in a certain song. That's an antithetical signal. So the opposite meaning is expressed by a characteristic on an opposite side of a spectrum. Like concept A and concept B are represented by black and white respectively. That's an antithetical signal. Or you can have something called open-ended categorization, where if you have like a little element in your song, you can be grouped into a category and just have like a quick thing. So like, okay, that song has that note in it. That means it's automatically from this group. And so some birds can be using that. Chickadees have this in their Phoebe call, which I'm actually hearing where I live. Let's see if I can find it, because it's a neat little call. That here is a chickadee, by the way. So, chickadee Phoebe song. Well, song call. So it sounds like this. Like that. So I wake up to that at about this time of year. They're pretty cool birds. They're really cute. Black cat chickadees is usually what I get. You know that sound? You probably have them where you are, Trolley. So birds like sociable weavers that live in large colony nests, do songs serve different purposes? I think songs for weaver bird nests. I have someone studying this. It could be for communication, just like keeping the lookout for predators. It could be for territorial reasons. It could be for mate guarding as well. Like in weavers that are sociable like that, song probably doesn't have just one function, if that makes sense, Padfoot. So I would bet that songs can serve different purposes. I would have to ask my lab mate and get back to you, but I'm pretty sure that songs and weavers have different functions depending on context. Especially if they're like cooperative in nature. And also probably for mate attraction as well. I don't know if the females sing in sociable weavers. If they do, it might be for more communicating purposes, like in the greater flock. Sometimes starlings have this too. Yeah, totally. Just seems like it would be much more complicated in groups at large. Oh yeah, whenever you have a group, everything is more complicated. That's why animals who tend to live social lives have bigger brains because life is just more complicated. Humans have big brains because we're super social. Dolphins have big brains because they're super social. Wolves have bigger brains because they're social. And they have to, like, calculate how to do things a lot. So social animals have lots more complications that they need to handle in their day-to-day life than something that's alone all the time. So this is important. This is like the silent elephant in the room throughout a lot of my research, is this difference between male and female, which is called sexual dimorphism. So just because females and males both sing in a species doesn't mean those songs are the same. There are usually differences between how much they sing, how their songs are made up, like they may have different elements in them, and they may be selected for by different things. Like male song may be driven more by sexual selection, which is females thinking it's hot, and female song may be driven more by like how quiet it is because of predators. Does that make sense? So songs in males and females tend to be a bit different, which you'd expect. So I have a good friend, so I have to be a good friend and socialize and make a phone call. Goodbye, my intelligent birds. Take care, Mel. Your brain is bigger for it. Being a social bird. Yeah, so the way I want to explore the difference between these two things is I want to go into differences in the brain and differences in the complexity of the songs themselves. So, oh my god, how long is this freaking PowerPoint? Okay, good, we're almost done. First thing is first is let's look at the brain. This is an actual bird brain. This is what it looks like. This is the song system controls. They have, you see these little, the white balls, I guess, like RA, HVC, LMAN, Area X, when even the teacher gets tired. Yeah, a little bit. Because I gave this lecture on Wednesday, and it was super long, and I was answering questions too. This is a lot of stuff, Trolley. Like, look how long I've been lecturing already. I've been lecturing for like an hour and a half, and I still have a bit to go. Actually, a little less than that, because I started late. But, like, this is a seminar, Trolley. So these white things are called song control regions. When you look at this in a species that doesn't have female song, the song control regions in female brains are there, but they're greatly reduced. And when you injure those, and this is where we get into hurting birds, unfortunately Wolf is, when you damage these areas, females have trouble telling which songs are from their species and which songs are from other species, and then like how to react to different songs from different sexes. They just get all confused. So they think that these song control regions are also for recognition and learning. Well, you were detouring because we were memeing and asking barely related questions. That is true, Soap. Off-topic students, it's all our fault. No, I really enjoy it, Padfoot. You guys are making this a pleasure. And you guys are asking really cool, interesting questions, and I'm glad that I can answer them. It makes me really happy that I can actually fulfill what you guys are wondering about. Like, it means a lot to me that I'm actually able to answer your questions. So, in AC, one moment. What's up?
Dinner and showers in like a minute and a half.
Okay, I'm gonna be late.
Okay, tell me in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm probably still gonna be late.
Okay, whatever, you're safe, so
Cool, thank you. Sorry about that. You're doing great, thank you so much. Yeah, right after this, I'm going to have to go eat dinner, and then I'll probably stream even more. But let me run by the rest of this real quick. And you guys can ask me questions, and you guys can ask me questions here, and you can ask me questions in the Discord, which I will put up again. Discord. If you have any other questions, I can definitely help you out. And if I can't actually help you out, I can definitely find someone who can help you with your question. So, in species where both of the sexes sing, how different their songs is reflects how different their brains are. So that was pretty neat. I don't know too much about neuroscience, so that's pretty much the extent of my understanding for this. But yeah, they've been studying that for a long time, and they're still figuring out more about like how females learn. It's weird, but they're working on it. And now for everyone's favorite hormone, testosterone. So back in the good old days, when they liked just injecting testosterone into shit just to see what would happen, they realized that when you inject some females with testosterone, they start singing, which scared the pants out of the first researcher who discovered it. It's actually a really funny story that I don't remember and we'll have to tell you later. But yeah, he was thinking that testosterone would make the female want to mate more, and instead she started singing, and he was like, what? So, scientists of yore, indeed. So, yeah, they were injecting females with testosterone and they were starting to sing, and it was just like, oh. Even though female song was rare or thought not even to exist, they started singing, and it was like, alright. So, in naturally singing species, testosterone in your blood changes over the seasons of the year. And in the spring, testosterone is high, and you start singing. Because you need to defend your territory more, you need to, do more shit. So you need that testosterone. And that testosterone makes you more likely to pass on your genes. But how much testosterone you have doesn't always reflect how often you sing and how complicated your songs are. Even though it does in some species, it doesn't always do that. Does that make sense? Okay. So, they also can learn differently. There's not a lot of work done on this yet. So there are two ways that birds learn their songs, because birds have to learn their songs. They're not born with it, totally. They're born with their calls, and they may be born with like some beginning parts of song, but in order to be good at it, they need to learn. And so, with birds that have really only the males that sing, usually they have this thing called a critical period learning strategy, where there's only this tiny little window where they can learn their songs, and then once they've learned their songs, they can't change their songs afterward. They always sing the same song, and they can never change it. And then the second strategy is females and males. They can just pick up songs and forget songs throughout their lifetime. They can change songs. They can fool around with it a bit. They're kind of like the artists. They're like they can modify their songs more. Whereas if you're a critical learning guy, you just repeat the same damn thing as you learned when you were like little, and that's it. And which females learn how, people don't know too much about this, but from what has been learned so far, it's usually the second strategy, where females are just continuously learning when they're learning. Cardinals are weird. Males that aren't able to listen to something can kind of approximate normal song, but females can't, which suggests that they would be learning it differently. But when they were given male or female tutors to learn from, because they can have like birds teach other birds, the males and females learned equally well from both the female teachers and the male teachers. And they just learned each other's songs and were equally good at each other's songs. Even though there are slight differences in those songs, they didn't really care. They could sing both. And accordion blues also do this. This is the eastern whipbird I was telling you about before. So in the blue-capped accordions and northern cardinals, female and male song not too separate. You can learn each other's. There's no sex-specific lineage of just like females learn female song, males learn male song. That seems to be the case in the eastern whipbird because those songs are so different, and female song has little differences over the same area that male song is like almost totally the same. So it could be that females are learning from females and males are learning from males, but it could also be those songs are so different and have different parameters for how different they can be from each other because of how strict the selection is on those songs. So like if there's heavy selection on the male song, that male song has to be the same, perfect each time, or it's not going to work. Whereas with females, it may not matter so much, so you can kind of chill. You can kind of just, you know, you don't have to be perfect, and so it can change more. Does that make sense? So there's that. And then there's complexity differences. So male song is usually viewed as the more complex, more elaborate song because of like good old Darwin. But what does that mean? Like, what does it mean to be less complex or more complex? So, in species with complex female songs, males may have longer songs or songs with more, like, tricks in them, if that makes sense. Like, little twists that they'll add in, whereas females may have less of those or they're shorter. Or, males may know more songs than females do, which is called a repertoire size difference. So females who know fewer songs have a smaller repertoire. And in duetting species, where the females and the males sing together, if females don't sing alone as much as males sing alone, that may be seen as a complexity difference too. But sometimes it's not so different. So you can have individual females who are more complex in their songs than individual males, even though the averages will show that the females are less complex. That's the case in European starlings, which are everywhere. European starling. They look like this. They're mean. They, like, bully other birds, but they're really pretty. They're all over my campus. Do birds add more individual specific stuff to their song, like one male can sing the same song slightly differently just because, or are all songs sort of set? It depends on the species, Soap. In some species they play around with it a little, and sometimes that's encouraged, especially like in mockingbirds, where like you want to have really cool elaborate song. If everyone sings the same, then it doesn't signal anything, like it doesn't signal that you're any better than anyone else. So you want to sing the very best that any singer was. So you want to have like that song, but it can't be too different because then females are going to be like, what the fuck is this shit? So there's a balance, and where that balance lies depends on the species and what they need to worry about in their lives. Does that make sense? Okay, this is a stupid question, but if there were a happy feet situation IRL, that bird would probably just not get to a mate, right? Oh, so if he was mute, yeah, he probably wouldn't get a mate. It's not like they can learn to appreciate a different trait that quickly over evolutionary time. That stuff happens slowly. But not a stupid question. It's a legitimate question. Sometimes there isn't a difference in how complex male and female song is from each other. Sometimes songs are equally complex, but in different ways. Like, male song may be more consistent than female song, but they're both equally as complicated. Or males and females may have different songs in their repertoires, but they're still equally big repertoires. Or they can have the same songs and have really no difference in structure or repertoire. And there was one case where even though the brains were different, the songs weren't. It was a weird paper. It was strange. I don't know why that is. So this is what I'm doing. So my work in the lab is I study these things. These are house finches. This is the male. See how beautiful and red he is? He's cool. He's a singer. He sings a lot. And this is the female. She doesn't sing as much, but she does sing, and I want to know why. Well, the penguin part of my childhood is ruined. So as long as the disposed lion's kids can come back to avenge them Simba style, I'll be fine. It's not beyond the realm of possibility, Lavrov. That I can say. So what I'm doing is I'm gathering 6 males and 6 females, and I'm taking their songs from 1994 and 1995 because some old professor did a lot of recording, and so I'm doing work on what he left behind. He's dead, but I'm using his stuff because he was nice enough to leave it behind. And I am looking for the differences in how the female song goes and the male song goes, which no one's really ever done before. So I'm looking at syllable diversity, how long the song is, where the pitch range is, and I'm quantifying all of that in a computer program. And then what I hope to do is I hope to observe female house finches singing outside in like how they normally do things in the world, and taking notes on what's happening around them, and hopefully that will shed light on why they sing the songs they do. And that's it. I did it. Carry on his legacy, become the old dead man. Oh jeez. But yes, thank you guys so much for sticking around this whole lecture. My mouth is so dry. But before I go and have dinner, I'm going to be streaming right after dinner as well. But I want to make sure, does anyone have any burning questions before I go? And even if you come up with a question later, like even in the middle of the night, just drop it in the Discord in that little science and nature section thing. Yeah. But thank you guys so much for listening. My voice is probably super hoarse. What a wonderful presentation, Wolfie. Thank you. Oh my god. Take a swig. You earned it. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. I'm so happy you guys liked it. So yeah, this is going to be a highlighted stream. So you have this information whenever you want it. You can make all the memes you want. Yeah. So all those all those assumptions from decades ago about female song are basically negligible. When they were made, were they validated in any way? They weren't, Lavrov. No one really bothered to look in it. My throat is dry. Welcome to my world 24/7. And thanks a ton for the presentation. It's my pleasure. I love doing this sort of thing. I'm hoping to become a professor and researcher when I grow up. So this is just par for the course for me. And it was just my pleasure. I'm really happy that I have a community that's willing to sit down and like watch this shit. I hope to have more of these in the future when I get onto other projects too. Especially if you guys really enjoyed it. So yeah, I have a steak with my name on it, and it's on a plate without my name on it, but I'm really hungry, so I'm gonna eat it. And then I'm probably back with more Okami, because I haven't done Okami in a while, unless people want to play with me, and then I might be doing a multiplayer game. We'll see how things are. Yeah, so I will be back soon. But in the meantime, do not eat or drink any questionable substances. Make smart decisions. Do not die. Dying is absolutely forbidden. And I will see all of you wonderful people in like an hour. Take care, guys.